How you doing, pretty girl?
She's smelling the P-mail.
Where are we at, Jen?
We're at Kensico Dam. They're getting the winter festival ready. These are so much better looking from far away. Total Monet.
How's it going, guys and geeks? Welcome back to the Geekritique show. My name's Dakota.
And I'm Jen.
And we're here at Kensico Dam. You can probably see the wall over there. It's not in focus, but it will be soon. We are going to answer your poll results we asked you whether or not the Disney/Fox buyout or merger would ever happen, and bonus question, like how would they introduce the X-Men and Fantastic Four into the MCU if they ever did that. While not our most popular poll to date, a lot of you did vote in, a lot of you did have some really interesting opinions, and we're going to go through I think 15 comments, which is perfect because I think that's the ideal number of comments that we want to read every time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just read off the poll results right now to get that out of the way, because we only have about an hour of daylight and it's freezing today.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like it's cold, but it's pretty chilly. If you can't tell, they're setting up a winter wonderland here at Kensico Dam. So the first poll result, it'll never happen. It's either illegal or Fox will back out. 12% of you think that's probably the most likely scenario. It may happen, as 20th Century Fox is struggling to stay afloat. 22% of you said that. That's the third highest number of votes. The second highest number of votes is, I hope it happens because we need certain characters in the MCU, like the X-Men, like Fantastic Four, Deadpool and such.
Mm-hmm.
The most poll results was about 30% at Disney will buy only certain assets like Marvel characters, which a lot of you seems to think is the most likely scenario. If they don't buy out the entirety of 20th Century Fox and all of their assets, they'll likely buy out those Marvel characters and maybe certain other things. And the last poll result got the least number of votes, but 7% of you did vote for it. It'll definitely happen, and it'll be great / the end of the world. These are people who are very sure that this is going to happen at some point in the near future.
Now it's going to have a big impact.
Yes, let's get to reading some of your comments.
Following me. Okay, so Atomic Blast, you say, bringing back the Fantastic Four would be amazing. It's been done, but hopefully it can be done correctly. I took out the ye because I don't really know what that meant. But I agree, if it is done correctly, it could be good.
Yes, it's been done several times before. I still hold out that Fantastic Four has been done correctly once and once only, and that was before the modern superhero movies even existed with The Incredibles. The Incredibles is the most perfect Fantastic Four movie there will ever be.
He lost me there for a second, then I jumped back on board.
The Drusif, you say, I hope it happens because we need certain characters back in the MCU. With Thanos soon to be arriving as the mega villain for Infinity War, it only makes sense they need another huge threat once they're done with him. The next biggest intergalactic threat would be the destroyer of worlds himself, Galactus. Silver Surfer could show up in the MCU, and it would be amazing. As for the X-Men and the mutants, easy fix. Thanos snapped his fingers once the Infinity Gauntlet in the comics and changed the whole universe around. A simple solution like that could bring the mutants into this world. Or since Scarlet Witch is already there in the MCU, they could have her unlock her ultimate power and rewrite history. It's been done in the comics before, so it shouldn't be all that hard for them to find a way to bring them in. No matter what, the MCU would be much better off with all of its own characters existing in one universe. That's how it's always been in the comic booky world, and that's how it should be in the MCU. You said a lot there, and I can't argue with any of it. I think that's a really good idea. I think it's a lot of really good ideas, especially Galactus. I'd love to see Kang the Conqueror. Man, there's so many villains out there. I can't even think of them right now. Yeah, that's one easy fix that they could do, is Thanos literally snapping his fingers and changing the universe around, or maybe merging universes together. Fernando Lopez Jr., you say, because then we will get Hugh Jackman back as Logan, and then it will bring the original source material to life. And I'm guessing the original source material you're talking about is comic books, which, yes, that would be really awesome to bring those two worlds together, the X-Men and the Avengers. And also, Hugh Jackman as Logan, he has said that he would return to the character if and only if he was brought into the MCU, because he wants that connective tissue between his character and the greater Marvel universe, which would be awesome, of course. Alright, so Angel, you left us the longest message that we got, so we're going to try to get through it. I hope it happens because Hugh Jackman has said he would return as Wolverine in the MCU. Yeah, we actually just talked about that. And that would be awesome to see him stand next to Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., and Captain America, Chris Evans. I know that people fear that Deadpool movies would no longer fall into the mature R-rated category if they so continue to make Deadpool movies, or even worse, drop the character altogether, but I think they want to keep fans happy. I think Disney would take the necessary step forward and keep Deadpool true to his nature. Now, I think there are plenty of ways this could work. People have already mentioned that Doctor Strange can mess up the timeline and thus make a new timeline where mutants exist, or he could merge two realities together. I don't know, lol, but the Infinity Stones could also be the cause of these two worlds to either collide or merge together. Or they can just exist as two separate realities and travel between the two and help one another out when needed to. Oh, and Scarlet Witch could be the cause. Or in the X-Men universe, it could be Charles Xavier's son Legion, who could alternate reality as well. One of these things could cause these two worlds to become one. So, as we've mentioned several times, there are a number of different ways that they can merge universes. Whew, that was a long comment. That said, I don't think we'll be getting the actors that are already signed on to the Fox films. I think it'll be an entirely rebooted franchise.
So then what about Deadpool? I don't want them to buy Deadpool.
Here's the thing. If they do, I picture him being the only character they keep as Ryan Reynolds, because he would actually be the meta character, and he would on screen talk about like the Fox Disney merger and like how this is affecting everything.
Yeah.
I think that could be pretty funny, and
Because he does break the wall, so...
Yeah, he breaks the fourth wall literally all the time, so... Deadpool, I don't think fans need to worry too much about Deadpool. Disney has produced R-rated films, just not under their label. They've used, I think, Miramax in the past, or Touchstone. So there's different ways that they can do this, or even putting him on like something like Netflix, or if they do the streaming service, they could have like an adult section of the streaming service, you know? There are a number of ways they can do it.
Yeah, the options are endless when you're that rich. Luna started crying because there were two little chipmunks playing on a rock over there. It was super, super cute. So if you saw me kind of look over and smile, it was the chippies.
The chippies. About 5.
Look, she's scared of the freaking cat.
How you doing, Luna?
Okay, so Joe Sheep, you say, I don't really think it would make sense for them to buy everything, as there's really no point. In terms of who they buy, I have a very controversial opinion. I don't want the X-Men in the MCU. To be more specific, I don't want pre-established characters in the MCU. That timeline is confusing enough, and the only way to explain the absence of mutants would be to reboot. I know most of those films are hit or miss, but recasting would mess with the Deadpool timeline. This is a problem because I highly doubt they'll allow someone like him into their family-friendly movies. That being said, I believe that the Fantastic Four needs to be added to the MCU. If it isn't, those characters will die for good in the next reboot, as Fox has proven they simply cannot make a film, or a good Fantastic Four film. This wouldn't mess up the timeline, and it would allow many characters like Galactus to enter that universe. Yeah, I could see how, because a lot of people are kind of vying to get X-Men into the MCU, and I see what you're saying, because I feel like it is pretty dicey, as is. But yeah, Fantastic Four needs something done with it, for sure.
I could definitely picture... But by the way, if Marvel buys these rights from Fox, or Disney buys the rights from Fox to give to Marvel, they definitely will not use any of the actors or pre-existing characters ever.
Why not?
The only way I could picture it is in some sort of like parallel universe sort of thing. Otherwise, those two timelines don't mix whatsoever. I don't even think that they'll use Hugh Jackman's character as Wolverine, unfortunately. The only thing I can picture them using is Deadpool's Ryan Reynolds, because he's just perfect for the role.
At least Hugh Jackman's Wolverine did have the perfect ending.
Yeah.
You know, like
that's a
that was
character
a great swan song, and I don't think that they could even. I don't think even if Fox still had it, they would come back well from that. You know, like it was just so perfect and beautiful that why would they even attempt to?
Becca says, I don't ever see Fox selling the rights to X-Men because it's a too valuable of an asset to them. Under Fox, the X-Men franchise has done well, with each of the films so far taking in at least $300 million at the box office, worldwide box office, and the whole franchise is worth about $5 billion. If anything might happen, it would likely be a studio collaboration between Fox and Disney, as we've seen with Spider-Man. However, I could see Fox selling Fantastic Four because that has never been a real success, unfortunately, and especially the bad press Fantastic Four received, or Fan Four Stick received. Thank you, Becca. That's a really good point. Now, $300 million domestically for a superhero film, that's not very good these days. If something doesn't gross $600 million worldwide, it's probably considered a failure, especially considering all the money it takes to actually produce a superhero film that's at least $100 million. Maybe the first X-Men movie was probably the cheapest to make. Still, they have to market it, which costs maybe another 20 to 50, perhaps even more, $1 million. So using 300 million as a minimum gauge of like how well a franchise is doing isn't really that effective. But that said, yeah, Fox probably doesn't want to lose the rights because that is their bread and butter when it comes down to it. Those films do make a lot of money. Even Deadpool, that was a huge surprise hit. I don't think they want to get rid of Deadpool. So we might not see Deadpool actually leave Fox as for now. Fantastic Four, on the other hand, definitely. And I could see them doing something similar to what Sony did with Spider-Man. But I have a feeling Disney doesn't want to collaborate with all these different studios for a number of reasons. Namely, the more characters they have from different franchises, the more they have to share money with the other franchise owners.
All right, that's enough.
I like to believe Pablo's comment is said in all caps. Bring them back into the MCU chronological timeline!
The 8 gaming, you say it definitely wouldn't be illegal, yet because of this, I would also have to say it isn't 100% likely. It would be amazing to see some of the X-Men and Celestial beings that Fox owns currently, and with the way Marvel has been handling their movies recently, they could do a huge improvement upon the X-Men and Fantastic Four if/when they get introduced. Thank you for that comment.
And it would be so cool if the Celestials were to make it into the MCU, especially because they did have a big part in the Infinity Gauntlet story arc, so I would like to see that.
And Mr. Unknown, you have blessed us yet again with another mysterious answer. You say, bonus question answer. I think the Fant Four Stick will be rebooted before the X-Men and the X-Men universe will bring the Yet Plan movies out and then get rebooted for the MCU. Sweet. My legs hurt so bad. I ran 9 miles today and I'm just so tired now and hungry. More stairs. Come, Luna. Help me, carry me, pull me. Don't ask me to move for a minute. 1 minute break.
Trevor Nelson says, I think they will get the rights for the Marvel stuff. If they do, I hope Disney will still keep some of the things I think Fox did right and try not to tone them down to fit the Disney more family-friendly brand, like Logan, Deadpool, Legion, and Gifted.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the main concern that a lot of us have here. I know for me at least. You've already created characters that we really love. Like, it's not like Fox did everything wrong. So
No.
how do we hang on to the good that they have done? Cyber16, you say, I feel the Fantastic Four should definitely be integrated into the MCU, as with several X-Men characters. However, I don't want to see the X-Men as a whole. I'd rather see certain characters introduced as individual superheroes and no mention of mutants. The reason for this is I feel it is too late in the story, and I would struggle to understand where the hell the X-Men were on X, Y, and Z location. And yeah, that's a really good point. I wonder if anyone at Marvel just kind of like slapped themselves in the head wishing that this merger had been discussed before they got this in this deep. It is almost like they've gone too far to, you know, do as much as they possibly could have done, but it's still good to see what they could do with the creative liberties that they do have with potentially new characters, if that makes sense.
CT Janes, I think it would be best to slowly add in X-Men characters by starting off with a new Wolverine and focusing on a different team setup. Fantastic Four honestly may be the best left alone. I disagree entirely. If they're gonna incorporate mutants into the world, they kind of have to start implementing them soon or via some parallel universe sort of thing. And Fantastic Four, while they are best left alone in Fox's universe, Marvel would handle that so much better. They would use Pixar's formula with The Incredibles or something akin to that. Obviously not a shot-for-shot remake of The Incredibles, but the Fantastic Four are a fantastic group of individuals to add to the MCU because they open up so much for potential intergalactic threats.
It's a great big world out there for a little pup like
Luna! Jared Clark, after the buyouts of Marvel and Star Wars, and probably a bunch of smaller stuff I don't even know about, I can't foresee a future in which Disney doesn't buy Fox's characters for the MCU. Even if it's not now, it'll happen eventually, and you couldn't ask for a better timing than to start introducing those characters in Phase 4. But how would they introduce them? That's the question.
Yeah, that's what makes it tough, where it might have been a little easier if they had the characters earlier on.
Right.
Because it's like they could have been a lot of help. They could have been a lot of help all those times the world was about to end previously.
Yeah, and this actually goes into what DL has to say in his next comment. Where there is smoke, there is eventually always fire. Just look at the Sony deal for Spider-Man, among many other things, over the years with Disney or any other company. As far as introducing the Fantastic Four, much like Spider-Man, we need a brand new take. No space outings that result in a catastrophic event leading to powers. So I guess that's your stipulation, no space outings that result in catastrophic event leading to powers. I have a feeling that may be happening in Infinity War, but we'll see.
Thank you guys so much for all of your comments. We absolutely love you guys and all of your input. Even if we don't agree on certain things, or if you guys don't agree, it's such a great opportunity to have a discussion like this. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we really do appreciate all the participation we have in the polls. Even though this wasn't our biggest poll by far, 241 of you at least voted in just 2 days, I think, since we actually started the poll up. So thank you so much, very much.
Thank you.
Wayne! If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe if you don't already. Sunday at 12, we do our Geekly polls, so
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It'll show up in your notification feed if you have the bell icon clicked for our channel. So be there or don't.
Or be oval.
Or be oval, yeah. And if you guys really want to see more of these videos, the more exposure we get, honestly, the better we'll have the opportunity to go out to other places, especially when winter comes. to just keep doing these Geekly polls for you guys. So please share this video with others if you are at all interested in seeing this vlog series continue, because we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we hope it does succeed in the future.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.